I had this tongue sitting in the freezer. I had a deer tongue and a cow tongue. So I'm cooking both of those up today. Stick around and we're eating tongue.
I'm Josh McFadds, and I like to cook. Interlaced with my love of food is a love for the outdoors, and I kind of like it all. I want to share my adventures, the foods I love to eat, how to prepare them, and introduce you to some of my friends along the way. Pull up a chair around the fire, enjoy the scenery, and stick around for the food.
So I've got a deer tongue and I've got a cow tongue. Now, I was thinking I was going to cook this deer tongue all on its own, but since I had the cow tongue, I figured it made more sense to just do them both at the same time. So the starting point for both of these things is to get them boiled up and with a little bit of salted water and some seasoned salted water. And once they're boiled up, we'll peel them in, and I'll show you how that works. But look at these tongues. These things are really crazy looking. So here they are. This is the cow tongue, obviously, the beef tongue. This is our deer tongue. It's just kind of like tiny and nice. There's not a lot of meat here. This is just a little guy, and it came off the doe that I shot with my bow this year. And it's, it feels like a tongue. It's mushy, it's soft, but this here is some of the most tender meat you'll ever eat. It comes out of the process. It comes out of the process a little bit like a corned beef product. Has a bit of salt to it, especially once you smoke it. But this is the cow tongue. So as you can see, this is a monster. It's giant. So there's a lot of meat here on this cow tongue, and the deer tongue in comparison is quite small. We'll probably grill a little bit, and I think we'll smoke this sucker. And this guy will just, since it's small and it's a little bit of a treat size, we'll do something special with that. So I'm going to get these things into some salted water right now. Got a big pot going on the stove. Salted water is going in there, salt and water are going in there, plus some garlic and some herbs. We've got a whole whack of salt. We've got rosemary, some chili powder, a little bit of cumin because I like that flavor, some whole cloves of garlic. I had some juniper berries, which is adds a really nice kind of like piney taste. Whole peppercorns, some bay, and some thyme. So that's all going into the water. Once that gets to a boil, we'll add in our two tongues and let it go for a couple hours. Okay, so after a few hours in the brine, a few hours just boiling in the salt water, this is what we've got. We've got our little deer tongue, which is kind of a funny, strange little fella. And then we've got this monster cow tongue. So what happens now is you don't want to eat this skin that's on the tongue. It's pretty gross. So this all has to peel off. And what I did was I scored a little line down the side of the cow tongue. And it peels off actually pretty easily. So you can see it just kind of like comes off in one sheet. And as you work your finger under that skin, it just kind of keeps on peeling off. And this stuff is like leather. Like, you do not want to eat that stuff. And then everything underneath is just nice, soft, tender meat. And it is cooked after being boiled in the water for a couple hours. It's cooked. It's ready to go. But we're going to kick it up a notch and put it in the smoker. This big sucker is getting smoked. So it might be hard to tell, but it's windy and it's snowing out here, and it's starting to get dark, so I'm starting up this barbecue, and I probably won't check it for a while. The tongue's gonna, it's windy. The tongue's gonna need to go for a little while. On the barbecue, I'll probably do it for at least an hour. And as soon as it's ready to go, I'll probably have some lights on out here, check up on it, bring you outside with me, and we'll take a peek. But right now, I need to get this thing going. So let's start heating up some charcoal. This is just a basic chimney starter. You fill this thing with charcoal all the way to the top. You let it overflow a little bit. That's some really nice. I just use solid oak charcoal. It's the best. I don't like using briquettes because, again, it's a little bit manufactured and they burn quickly. This is just solid oak and it burns really nice and slow and hot. And then below, I just broke up and tore up some pieces of newspaper and cardboard. So we light that, So we light that, the torch, go all the way around. And the reason they call it a chimney is because the air starts flowing from the bottom all the way to the top, carries the heat and the flames up, and it starts really making that coal nice and hot. As soon as it's hot, you dump it into the basin, throw some smoke on it, or throw some wood chips on it, and we got ourselves a smoking barbecue. Here goes our cow tongue. I'm just gonna lay it down with the thickest part of it towards the heat. Don't want to overcook it, and we'll cook it nice and slow, or as slow as we can. Move that guy a little bit. And those are going in there I'm gonna leave them in for an hour for sure. Damper the whole thing off so there's not a lot of airflow. I want to choke the air off to the smoker so that it's not getting a ton of airflow. The more air that you get in the smoker, the more heat, and the more fuel you put on it, the more heat. So I don't want to put a ton of coals on there. Let me close this. I don't want to put a ton of coals, and I definitely don't want a lot of air blowing through there. You can picture when the wind picks up when you have a fire going, or you blow on a fire, it starts ripping pretty quick. And I don't want that to happen. I want it to go slow. So I keep the dampers off. I have 4 on my, how much is 4? I have 4 on my smoker. So I just want to make sure that it's dampered off nice. Get some nice slow heat going. I'm not looking to cook the tongue because it's already cooked. I'm just looking to get it smoked and break down the texture a little bit more. And that's it. By the time I get back, all of that snow is going to be dropped, I'm assuming. And I'll have some nice tongue ready to eat. Some nice smoked tongue. And because I'm sick, I don't think I'm going to eat this thing today. But I'm definitely going to save it and do something with it tomorrow. So when you have meat going in a smoker, the most important thing you can do is every now and then just come out and just poke it, you know? Just grab it, give it a little poke. Oh man, that's looking pretty dynamite. So this beef tongue, this guy's been on there for, I'm gonna say probably an hour and a half to 2 hours now. And this is exactly what you want. It's got a nice red color on it from being in the smoke. And it's tender. There's a little bit of fat that still wants to render out of it, which is great. So if we just grab it and turn it around, it's a little hot to the touch, but again, in the spirit of just coming out and giving it that little poke every now and then, making sure everything's going okay, making sure there's still wood in the smoker. It's going great. This deer tongue, however, before it dries out and gets turns into nothing, I'm just gonna put that guy in my pocket, and we're gonna come back in the next little bit and check out that beef tongue again. I'll probably leave it for another half hour and then come back and we'll pull it off and bring it inside. Okay, this is where the beef tongue video is continued. I'm out in kind of the middle of nowhere on Lake of the Woods right now with Jay Siemens. He's over there drilling some holes. So we drove a super long way. Jay's just figuring out his electric drill. Say hi to the people, Jay. So we're doing, I won't leave it a surprise. We're doing a Reuben. We're doing a beef tongue Reuben. It's smoked. It's kind of like what you would experience eating. It's very similar to eating corned beef. Has basically the same flavor profile. It's salty, it's smoky, it's delicious, and we're putting that on a sandwich with some sauerkraut. My mouth's starting to get cold.
Are you gonna make me eat it?
Yeah. So here's the interesting part: is Jay.
It's nasty.
Jay thinks tongues are gross.
Who knows where that tongue has been? cows, they probably eat their own poop.
Well, they might.
So you're essentially eating poop. That is
Definitely not eating poop. So here's the thing. A lot of people think eating tongues are weird. And I guess it's a little bit strange, but it's a good piece of meat. It's a massive chunk of protein. Most people don't eat them, so they're pretty affordable to get at the grocery store. And if you can figure out a way to cook them and clean them, they definitely need to be cleaned. So Jay's going to get to experience that for the first time. We experienced Jay eating a heart for the first time. And were you reluctant to eat the heart?
I gagged a little bit. It was fine, but it's just the mindset between
Right.
for eating something.
It tastes. Yeah, so everyone always has their hang-ups, their personal hang-ups with eating food that's a little bit strange and bizarre. Tongue is definitely a weird one. You may think that it might be tough or it might be a little mushy or soft. I'm personally a guy who doesn't like soft textures. I like runny eggs, but I don't like when the whites are runny, and anything that has like a jello-y kind of vibe to it, I'm not into it. Tongue has a really nice steak-like texture to it. So yeah, it's no different than any kind of cold cut that you'd be used to eating. It's salty, it's smoky, soft, delicious. We're gonna get into that really soon.
You can talk about it right now.
I feel like I'm hiding behind this thing. This is the worst set ever, especially from my camera angle because I'm just hiding behind a stove. But one of the things I find super cool about this stove is that everything's enclosed really nicely, and it comes with this little package here, which actually has like a cast griddle in it. So you can cook pancakes on here, sausages, bacon, whatever you want, and the pan is already built in. It gets really good heat from both burners. So that's cool. We're leaking propane.
And since he forgot the heater hose, all that propane that's left over is very important to use in our buddy heater.
Yeah. Yeah, since I forgot that. And this little guy comes with a battery too, so when you hit the gas, you hit the starter,
full-on barbecue.
and it goes. And it's huge. It's got a ton of space. I'm gonna turn that off for 2 seconds. Look at that, it's got a middle burner. I got boogers in my nose. Don't get that. It sounds like it's burning. Oh! Something's going on here. We're getting a lot of gas. So we're gonna open those up. Oh, these aren't pans, these are...
Those are lids. Are you cooking on the griddle?
Cooking in pots! Hey man, for sure on the griddle. What are we doing? We're for sure using the griddle. What was I thinking? I'm so dumb.
Will you just cook that sticker?
The sticker gets cooked. Oh my gosh. Because the sticker's so cold. This is not going as planned, Jay.
That's okay.
Oh, there we go. Got
Yes.
it. So easy. Okay, so the sticker comes off super easy. That's the main function of that sticker. It needs to come off quick. So let's get some heat on this thing. So in this little wrapper, we've got our tongue. So I'm gonna cut some chunks. I want some like big, like beefy chunks in this. We're gonna heat that up.
That's a tongue, ladies and gentlemen.
That is a cow tongue. And we could add a little bit of butter to the pan, but we're not gonna right now. We're just gonna heat this up, let it get all friendly. You know what? I think that's all we're gonna use for the tongue. Like, I'm gonna get another chunk going just for the heck of it, but we don't need anything too crazy going on. We just want to get that tongue nice and hot. It's gonna go on these buns, which everything's having a hard time warming up right now. So our tongue is cooking away. I'm gonna manage this with my hands right now.
So are you choosing tongue just for shock factor, or what's the reason for you actually?
The reason for eating the tongue is I like using as many cuts of meat as possible off of an animal. And I mean, I don't harvest cows or anything like that on my own, but using unique cuts of meat I think is super important. And I think that it's more of an education thing for North Americans especially. Like in other countries, we're eating tongue as humans all over the place. And North Americans just aren't eating tongue because it's weird and it's kind of like a strange thing to eat, but it's a beautiful piece of meat. And I want people to go to the store and buy tongues, learn how to cook it a little bit, smoke it. Smoking it, I think, is the best way to eat it, but if you're even just slow poaching it in a brine and cooking it like, again, like a really nice piece of corned beef, you can get an amazing tasting piece of meat out of it. Really good quality protein, super, super tender meat, and we'll see. Jay's gonna be the guy to give it either the thumbs up or thumbs down.
I'm gonna gag, you know, regardless, I'm gonna gag.
Jay's a little bit of a pickier eater than myself.
I'm basic.
I like eating anything that has animal parts on it.
Where would you rate this on the scale of meats or cuts from a cow?
Man, that's a really good question. I mean, I'm a big fan of steak, but I would put this up there in like the top 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. So, since we're making a Reuben, I don't know why all this stuff got so cold.
Because it's a winter.
I guess because it's
extreme
really
cold morning.
outside. So, since we're making a Reuben, I don't know if you put cheese on a, you put cheese on a Reuben?
I think so.
So we've got some Swiss cheese. We're putting Swiss cheese on this thing regardless. What I'm gonna do is get this here pot. I'm gonna take the everything's got stickers on it. I'm gonna take this pot and put it on top just so we get a little bit of an oven kind of thing going on. We'll get that heat going and melt that cheese. These buns are looking pretty good and toasty. Buns are actually getting like, that's good. We want a little bit of char going on. I'm probably going to dial this back right away. Dial this thing back. Our middle one, I have no idea what's going on with that thing. It's kind of going.
Ooh, it's bubbling. Is there cheese bubbling?
There's cheese bubbling by the sounds of it. Let's take a look. Ooh, oh yes!
It's pretty much a
perfect. Okay,
I'm just gonna think of it as a burger when I eat it.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn this off because we've got a lot of heat going within this thing right now. It actually feels so good on the hands because it's cold outside. And so our buns are looking great. So what we're doing with our buns, I'm gonna do it right on the griddle here. Let's just turn this whole thing off. So, on our griddle, sorry, not on our griddle, on our buns, we've got some grainy mustard. Shout out to grainy mustard. You like grainy mustard?
I don't know.
Come on.
I'll learn today.
Come on, Jay. So we've got some grainy mustard going on this thing. Grainy mustard is amazing. It doesn't have that super strong, like, vinegary, I don't know, childish flavor profile as French's mustard has. French's is amazing though. Sorry. I don't mean to.
Aren't you sponsored by French's?
I don't mean to dig on French's. So we want a little bit of this grainy mustard. This is like whole mustard seed. This is the good stuff.
That actually looks more like something I'd eat than normal mustard. Like normal mustard weirds me out because what is that yellow? Why should it be that yellow? You know?
It shouldn't be that
yellow. Is it just dye that we're eating?
Yeah, there's dye in it and it's a little crazy. Okay, so we've got some sauerkraut there. It's not in a sauerkraut container, but you get the idea.
Sorry, what is a sauerkraut container?
Well, a sauerkraut container
would
is
say sauerkraut on it?
Yeah, I would say sauerkraut, and this is just an old mustard container.
Oh, I thought it was a certain type of container.
No. It's just an old. Look at this. Oh yeah. Vape Nation. Okay, so we have these beautiful nuggets of toasty beef tongue going onto the buns, and we've got mustard on there. Now,
it smells pretty good.
It smells amazing, man. And again, that tongue's been smoked. Like, you guys have seen this part already. The tongue's been smoked. We've got some beautiful alfalfa sprouts going on here. This is an essential.
And you grew that yourself?
I grew these in my
this morning.
In my home, yeah, this morning on the drive out. It was about, I don't know, it was a long drive out. So this sauerkraut, typically I would fry it up, but my spatula is stuck in the cooler right now, so we're not going to fry it up. So we're putting a little bit of kraut on top. Kraut's going to be nice and tasty. Get that lid on there. We're getting a little bit of mayo on top. The mayo is just going to add that nice creamy texture to the whole bite in the mouth feel of this thing. We're getting our
garnish
alfalfa sprouts.
That's not a garnish.
You could call it a garnish, but I think this is an essential to the flavor profile and the crunch. Jay likes that crunch.
A little squish, a little crunch.
Yeah, so we put that on top. We get that crunch, and that is our beautiful beef tongue kind of play on a Reuben sandwich with some Swiss cheese, some alfalfa sprouts, some grainy mustard, sauerkraut. I'm gonna take a bite right now.
You make it look so easy.
I'm gonna take a bite right now.
You have a good that was delicious face.
It's so good. It's so simple, it's so good. So the reality with this is we're out in the middle of nowhere. We're on Lake of the Woods, Kenora region, Kenora district, whatever we want to call it. Good food is just as close as you bring it. This is really awesome food. We don't have to be using beef tongue. We could be using a piece of brisket, we could be using chicken, we could be using whatever we want.
Walleye?
We could be using walleye on this sandwich and it would be amazing. The reality is that good food is not far away. Take a little bit of time, put a little bit of effort into it. I happen to have a beef tongue with me. We could go to the store, we go to any butcher shop and buy some meat, fry it up. These stoves are super affordable to get. Propane is readily available. Good food makes people happy. Good food makes people happy in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
And you know what they say? Meat is
Tradition.
boom.
Okay, so we're gonna get Jay to bite.
Oh man.
Should I take the camera?
Yeah. It's gonna be cold. You're gonna freeze your hands.
All right. This is Jay's first experience eating beef tongue. Maybe the first Reuben he's ever had. It's actually harder to taste when your face is frozen.
That's incredible. Like, there's so many things on this sandwich that I would not normally eat. Like sauerkraut or mayo. They're not something that is a big part of my...
Eating habits.
This is good. I'm not faking it. This is really good. It smells so good.
It smells amazing.
The fact that it's minus 40 might be playing into this, but... I gagged when I ate the goose heart with Josh in our previous video, but no gagging. This is good. I'm curious where this tongue has been, but other than that, it's fine.
One of the like super simple things that you can do with food as well that I think adds so much to the flavor. My hand's freezing right now. Adds so much to the flavor of food is just toasting bread. Toasting the bun that you're putting your meat and whatever on top. That toasted bread just adds comfort. It adds love. It adds
love.
Toaster bread. My hands are cold. I think this is it. This is the...
It's primed. We're going fishing now.
We're going fishing. This is the end of the video. Thanks a lot for watching.
Smash that subscribe, like, share button.
Go like Jay's channel. Please like my channel. Smash the button. We're going fishing. And I hit the camera like everybody else does. Pot over the camera. Boom.